Hey, what's up, guys? Let's do a little more tapping. We're going to tap on misery loves company. So just follow along, see if we can bring some self awareness to what this means. I'm sure you've heard that saying before, but it's essentially people staying stuck in the misery of their life, the lives of others, negative things going around in the world. And it's easy to get sucked down at their level because misery loves company. And there's biochemical things that are very addictive, right? The hormones of stress are addictive. So if something bad happens to somebody, we all know someone who talks about something bad that happened to them many years ago. And every time you see them, it's like they bring it up again and again. It's like the scorned woman who got divorced 20, 30 years ago, and she's still upset about what her ex did to her. And she's reliving it over and over every time she tells the story, triggering the same emotions, the same biochemical cocktail of negative stress hormones rushing through her system. So it actually feels good to her while she does that. Think about that. She's getting a rise out of telling the story over and over and over again. So that's the misery. That's the negative thought patterns. And that's the negative stress that's giving people a rise that they stay addicted to it. And so they'll talk about it over and over again. That's why news is always negative, because if they shifted away from just telling negative news and they started telling positive things all the time, then people wouldn't be as addicted to it, because it's all driven by fear, really, is what it's all anchored to. Fear is kind of that underlying emotion of why people get addicted to it, right? Fear sells, fear controls. So let's see if we can tap through this and bring more awareness to it, maybe help us let it go, because maybe we get sucked into it. But really, what's sometimes challenging for me and for a lot of people is that we all know people who do this, and we're at a greater awareness because we could see it. And maybe we're up here most of the time, but sometimes we get with those other people and they inching away, bringing us down. We're starting to give our power away, and boom, we're down there. Misery loves company. It sucked us right in. So maybe this helped bring more awareness. Maybe you're the one doing it to other people. Let's just tap and see what happens. So just follow along. Nice deep breath in. Let it go. Let's be present. See what comes up. Take note of what comes up. Even though misery loves company. And I've heard that saying many times over the year. I know it to be true. And I choose to explore this subject a little more right now. I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. And even though misery loves company, it could be hard to deal with, because I could see it in other people. People close to me, like friends and family, colleagues, neighbors. And sometimes I have a hard time staying in a high level state of being. I choose to love, honor, and accept myself. And even though misery loves company, it even loves my company when it can suck me down to its level through family and friends. And I don't like when I get sucked into that. But I know it's just status quo for others. It's how they think on a normal basis. And all of this can be tough to deal with. What do I do? Stay home? Not talk to anyone? That's not the solution. It's frustrating. I choose to stand in my power. I choose to find a way to process through this when others are projecting it at me. because it can and will happen. And I love, honor, and accept myself anyway. And all of these other people who contribute to the company of misery and try to pull me into it. All right, let's go through the points. Misery loves company. This idea of misery loving company. Misery loves company. I choose to be more aware of this. Because let's face it, it's being projected at me and many other people all the time by way of the news, by way of family and friends who are addicted to the hormones of stress. They live in a state of misery. And boy, oh boy, do they love it. Especially when they can pull me into it. I choose to be more aware of this misery loves company idea. I choose to instruct my subconscious mind to be on the lookout for that misery. That misery that loves company. And the way it takes hold of other people's lives. Their thought patterns. Their negative thought patterns. I don't like being sucked into it. I don't like that resistance I feel when someone else is projecting some sort of negative energy towards me. Telling me the same story they told me before. That's completely miserable, full of misery. Sometimes I get sucked into it. And that's okay, I'm not perfect. I just choose to be more aware of it. I choose not to beat myself up for getting sucked into it. Sometimes it even feels good for me to complain, for me to bitch and moan, to blame, to embrace that misery. Maybe I sometimes bring other people down to that misery. Misery loves company. I'm well aware of it now. I choose not to beat myself up over it. I choose not to have a frown. Rhyming a little bit. I choose to be more aware of that negative energy. And if I get sucked into it, that's okay. Real emotional intelligence is the ability and the awareness to recognize where my state of being is and to shift out of it quickly. So even if I get sucked into those negative, complaining conversations of misery and fear, as long as I can pull myself out of it and recognize what was happening, then I choose to know I'm doing well. And I'll continue to work on it. I want to engage with others. I want to hold myself up at a high level, a positive state of being, and influence others to meet me up there. And sure, it might be hard. Some people just are not going to come up there with me. But it's not going to stop me from projecting my positive state of being, of strength, resilience, positive expectations onto others. Because I know that one person in a high level, positive state of being is exponentially more powerful than a million people in misery. Oh, boom, baby. Now that's powerful. That felt good. I'm feeling it. I choose to know that I could be around misery at any point in time. And as long as I maintain my power, my high level state of positive being, I'm more powerful than all that misery around me. I choose to rise up. I choose to man up. I choose to woman up. I choose to approach all interactions with others from a positive state of being and influencing those up out of misery to meet me anytime they like. In the meantime, I'll stay strong. So be it, it is true. In body, mind, heart, and spirit. Nice deep breath in, baby. Let's do it. Just let that out. Shake it out, shake it out. That was a pretty long one, but pretty good. Hopefully you maybe felt some energy moving, building more awareness around this idea of good versus evil, good and bad, whatever, positive, negative. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.